Okay, then let's continue to do it. Animation of other objects in the scene. The animation of several other objects. Let's take a look. Let's start with the small petals. Our little petals have an up and down movement. Up and down movement. Then it is upward faster. Then it will fall slowly. So there is such a rhythm. What is the same principle? That is, we have 250 frames. So if we want to make it form a loop, we need to allow our frame number to be divided by 250 frames. So let's repeat it twice here. That is, from 1 to 250 frames. We give it a heavy. Just restore it. So let's take a look at this. Let's choose one first. Press the K key on the interface to record its location. Then we use this keyframe to CVD. Copy it to frame 125. Then it moves upward faster. So we can make it. Let's say we have it in A. At 24 frames. Let it be up. Okay, then let's go to K again. So now let's take a look. What does its animation look like? It goes up first and then slowly falls down. Right? If it falls down so slowly, what do we hope for? Let's take a look. Let's make it fall at 100 frames. 100 frames dropped. So if this is the case, what follows will form A. There is a state of rest completely on the ground, right? It doesn't matter if there is a still state. We can make it go from this front to the back. Can be a little bit empty. So 100 frames to this. So what about at 125 frames? Let's copy it backwards. In other words, we need it to go from 100 frames to 125 frames. It's a feeling of being stuck on the ground. Let's take a look again. It goes up first, then slowly come down, then go up again. Come down slowly again. It's such an action, right? Then it is just an action on the z-axis. So we're here. Just go give it the z-axis. To do the loop in the previous modifier. Let's check it out. How effective it is. Is it possible to go through a complete cycle? Mainly at 250 frames. There should be no problem. Good. What about the overall feeling? It's like this. Then in our scene. In fact, there are many small paintings. So what is my suggestion? Since we are talking about modeling and materials first, the animation part that will be discussed later, so it will cause a small problem. That is, we copied many of the same objects. But later these objects, they all need to have almost the same animation. Then we may need to give these objects. Repeat the same animation. This doesn't seem particularly efficient. Right? Then once there are some identical objects, after they have some of the same animations, we can consider it. Just copy the object that already has animation. Right? Make a copy. What if this is the case? You don't have to animate every object. Right? So now there is a small problem. Let's give an example. Now, where are the little flowers here? There is already animation. What about me now? Hope it passes the copy. To replace some other white flowers. Then let's take a look at what kind of problems there will be. I go to saved. Why copied a new one and put it here? Then it'll play the animation. We'll find it disappears. In fact, it does not disappear. What's the reason? It's because its position is recorded as a keyframe. The position of this keyframe is exactly the same as the position of the original small flower. Same. In other words, just these two flowers. Its location information is exactly the same. So no matter how many flowers you copy, as soon as your animation starts playing, it will be restored to the original position of the flower. So how to solve this problem? We need a negative pole to carry it. To produce a change in position. That is to say, its own position. It is no longer possible to make any changes to the data, but we can let an object move on its behalf. It's like a person who can't open his legs and walk, but you can put it in a wheelchair, or put it on the car, then start the car. or a wheelchair will do. Then we're on it. We create an empty object. Shift plus A. Among empty objects, we create a saved axis. And then we can zoom out a little bit. Apply it and speak. Take this little tweet of yours. We bind it to on our axis, right? Let's put the position first. Now on the first frame, we can put it anywhere. Save our little flowers with this. We give it Ctrl plus P. Bind it. After binding, we can use it to bring little flowers. To complete the change in position, so we can give it a name. Because they have a father-son relationship now, so it's inside. Let's give this saved axis a name, called white flower. Okay, let's double-click it. Pay attention to copy together. Now we have CFD. Put it aside. So let's take a look at its animation now. There is no problem. So if you wanted to go to a new location, you can use one of its negative terminals, right? Come and move it. It can move to a new position. Animation is not affected at all, right? So when we give an object, made a change in position, then you still want it to change its position? If you want to copy, it is necessary to adopt such a method. Where am I in here? Make a small correction. That's what I want for little flowers. Go and add a small drop shadow. I first make the whole little flower a little taller. In other words, it does not fall completely on our ground. Next, let's create a mirror ball. Flat flower coloring. I flatten it a little bit. A little flatter. Put it under our flower. Just face the little flowers. Use it to create a fake shadow effect. Fruit. We need to give it a darker green material. Darker green. Darker green. It seems to me that there are no similar colors in our pictures. Let's use the dark green grass to give it a small shadow. Then we can change its color. Copy it. Copy it. I made it a little bit brighter. Let it form the feeling of a shadow of our little flower. Good. Then after doing it, I need to bind it to the axis above as well. So if this is the case, then I can move with it. There are also animations of little flowers. Yeah. Okay. So what I need to do now is paint all the white flowers. Use this group to replace all. Let's double-click it. Then save DY. Copy here. Where's the location? You can adjust it yourself. Save D. Save DZ. Good. They are already fine. What about the front piece? There are two more. We can just delete it too. Or choose it. Let's double-click. Save D. Save D. Come parallel. Save D. Save D. Good. Now all our little paintings all have appeared. Let's take a look. Their animation. What about animation? There is no problem. But what? There is a small problem is all their animations are a little bit in sync. So we have learned before. Methods and ideas to solve them. That is, we can choose any painting. Put its existing keyframes. Move a certain distance left or right on the timeline. You can move it at will. Let's take a look again. They are still looping animations, but the frequency will be different. Right? Okay. No problem. So is the other little Huaduo. We can move it a little bit. There are several others. Bigger and smaller. We can adjust it ourselves at will. Let's take a look now. So now our little white flowers. Its animation effect is already there. Isn't it? Besides that, we also have some little yellow flowers. Of course, the method is exactly the same. If you find it troublesome to animate them, it's not as easy as changing the material. Then you can also put small white flowers. We will copy it directly. To replace these little yellow flowers, we will place a CVD here. Let's name it red flower. Red flower. It's an orange anyway. You can also call it orange. Copy it. Then we make some modifications to its material. The first material is white. Let's look at the yellow flowers. It's 10 and 11. Then we change the 0.8 on the white flower to 10. Change 0.9 to 11. So if this is the case, our white flowers were successfully replaced with yellow ones. Then use our previous copy method to give it. Copy. Where else? There is one behind us too. Then select our red CD over. There is also a delete on the opposite side. Double-click on its small icon. Good. So it's okay now. Then we still have to adjust it. The rate at which they move. Good. Also on the other side. Let's move it. Right? Now let's pay attention. Right? Almost every flower. Their speeds are not exactly the same. It looks like it will have a certain sense of agility. Right? Very good. Very good. Good. What's next? Let's do it. Those little patches on our lawn. An animation of this little mist. So let's take a look. The little dot on top. It is using the substitution command. Let its shape produce a random change. We all know. Then it uses a texture. When we make some numerical changes to this texture, you'll find all the little pieces. It seems that it can generate an activity. So we can start with the substitution command here. By using substitution, we can also make it animate. Of course, we don't use this size value to create an animation, although the size value can be animated, because you see there will be a small dot behind it. Properties like this with little dots all can be recorded as animations, but I'm not trying to hope for it here. I want to use it to make the previous animation. We can go back to our modification panel. Let's take a look at the modifier, our replacement. It was copied 46 times in total. In other words, there are 46 such little things in total. All use the same method. So if we can be here, how about making an animation for it? This can solve some animation problems in our scene. How to do it? It's actually very simple. What about our replacement command? There will be a coordinate system on it. The coordinate system uses local by default. We can change it to an object. That means changing it to an object means we can use the motion of an object. You can drive the texture inside this displacement to generate some activity. Then we all know, once this texture moves, right? Our little ball above, a certain movement will occur. So, we are on the edge of the scene. Let's create another axis, right? Let's create another axis. You can give it a name. For example, we call ball animation. Right? It's called ball animation. Good. So what happens after it's placed? We can choose the little ball we just had. It has now been replaced by an object. Then we can use this object. There is a small straw underneath. We can animate the elbow of the ball. Empty objects are picked up by it. Now as long as I move it, everyone will find my little ball on top. It will undergo an animation change. Then there will be a problem here. That is, we want its animation to be a loop. Then we all know, if you move this, it moves from here to here. So between 250 frames. How can we form a cycle? What about here? I suggest you use rotation, right? Because if you rotate it 360 degrees, it just happens to be able to cycle back. So let's try rotating 360 degrees. Can it form a circular feeling? Then pay attention. What we use here is the rotation animation. Good. Select our animation controller. Now on its first frame, we press the K key. Let's record its rotation animation. Then what? Let's jump to frame 250. Just let it RZ 360 degrees. Let it spin. Go to K again. Record the rotation animation. Good. So at this point we can take a look at the animation curve. Then it runs from this lower left corner point to upper right corner point, right? That's proof that it's on our rotation value. rotated to a height of 360 degrees. Let's take a look at its effect. In other words, what we need to look at is the 250th frame and the first frame. Can it produce a smoother connection? It looks smoother now. But if you watch the animation carefully, it will have a slight problem. That is, it is at the starting position. Its animation is very slow. The animation in the middle is very fast. So we're here. In fact, I hope it can feel at a constant speed. Let's stop first. We'll find its animation curve, not a straight line. It's a line that goes in and out slowly. So it will cause its initial speed to be slower. Then it ends relatively slowly. Because the slope in the middle is relatively steep, so it will be faster. So if this is the case, we need to adjust it into a relatively straight line. We can frame it. Just rotate the value frame of our z-axis rotation. Then use the shortcut key T key. Here we can choose this linear. Linear means that it is a uniform. I open shortcut keys, right? Words now. Its speed from beginning to end is completely uniform. What I'm doing now is the speed of this rotation controller. Right? Words now. It is a completely uniform state. But we will find. This effect seems to be faster. Right? Shaking extremely hard. It was shaking so hard. In fact, it is mainly because the size of the value inside our replacement is a little too small. Got it. We can make it a little bit bigger. The bigger it is, this one will look smoother. So you will find its current activity will be slower. Not that fast. Take a look. Now we have solved this problem. Then after solving one of them, our other objects. In fact, the same method can be used, but a little more. So we need to do it together. We can select them all first. I want it to be positioned a little bit upward. Good. Then after we select it, you can press and hold the Out key on the keyboard. After pressing the Out key, we are on its local coordinate button. Pull it off. Then we select this object. In this case, they switch into objects together. And then we're going to use this little straw. Go suck this our rotating shaft. Let's go suck it. It seems that the sucking action is the only thing changing. Let's take a look again. It's like this. Then we can also use another method. In other words, we have already done it before. It's all one effect. We will find out other content later. In fact, the structure of the modifier here. It's exactly the same as what we did before, except for some options. We are different. The rest is the same. Then it becomes very simple. We only need to animate the unfinished. Select all those little bits for it. Then finally find one that you have already animated. Directly use the shortcut key Ctrl-L. Then we are in the link menu of Ctrl-L. Just select the copy modifier. Let's play it again. The object whose modifier is copied. It will produce a corresponding animation effect. It would be better now. Then in addition, all of us on the grass. This effect we did before. We all choose it. Then give it both Ctrl-L. Go to Make. Use a copy modifier. We can quickly copy one of our animation effects into it. You don't need to manually adjust them one by one. Okay, we find the biggest one. We can remember it. It has been done. Let's just use the copy modifier. Okay, now let's go back to the camera view. Let's go play it. Pressing the empty key on the keyboard also plays. We can check. Are there any small points that are not animated? Everything seems to be animated now, right? Okay, so these little bubbles, there are already animations. And they also successfully completed a circular feeling. Very good. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at some other angles. Still good. There are some small bubbles a little far away. We can get a little closer. These little bubbles we can actually have around the tree. Every angle can be placed slightly. Everything is possible. Okay, so now the animation of little bubble is finished. Then let's do it in our scene. The material of those grasses. Animation of grass. So stupid animation. We need to create a sense of rotation from this root. Of course, now let's take a look at our grass. It's not that its shaft type is on the bottom, but in the middle of it. So if we do a rotation animation, it feels wrong now. Then we need to place its axis at the very root of it. Let's take the two of them as examples, because the rest of the grass is exactly the same as them. So we just choose one of them to do. So in the end, I suggest that you still use the copy method, because we have several groups of grass, right? So it will be more troublesome if you do it one by one. Okay, let's select them first. What next? We Control plus period. Open our axis editor. Then use the shortcut key GZZ. Press Z twice. What about the second Z? In fact, our object is used. A coordinate direction of itself. We place its axis on the little shoulder at the bottom of it. The same goes for the other one. GZZ. We just put it on its little shoulders. After placing it, you can see that the period can close an editor of our axis. Then let's rotate it. You can feel that we should have an effect like this. Okay, let's go back to our camera angle. We still need our grass to have a looping animation. So we let it go here. Make a loop with 50 frames. Just swing it left and right. So let's first choose one of the grass fields. Let's rotate it to a certain position here. Keyframe. Let's give it a spin. Then let's take a look. We're here at frame 51. 51 frames, we hope it is the same as the current state. So let's copy. Replace frame 1. Then we find a 25 frame in the middle of it. Let's rotate the grass to one side. Press the K key to record the rotation again. In this case, it happens to be in such a range. To produce a rotating effect. Then we add its 3 values of X, Y, Z. We both give it a loop using. Right? So in this case, it will get a loop. Okay, no problem. Next is another page of slots. Then it is the same. We can make it a little more crooked. Let's go to K for a spin. Then find frame 51. Put our previous keyframe. Shift D, let's copy it over. Then we find a second number. It doesn't have to be a second number. The middle frame is not necessarily a binary number. You can be 29 or whatever. In short, your first frame and frame 51 are the same. Just fine. You can change the intermediate frame at will. After changing, let's say we now rotate it. In other words, it will take longer to turn around. Then the time to go back will be shorter. So you see it will appear a. This is how it feels, right? Then we also give it a loop. Let's take a look at the effect. Right? Its speed is not exactly consistent. Let's move it forward a little bit. Let's take another look. Is the speed not exactly the same? In other words, its key pin position. We can string it together a little bit. Let them not be synchronized. Let's take another look. Now there will be a small problem. There will be a small jitter behind it. Let's see what went wrong. Let's pull it back to the first frame. Our side is 50 frames, not 51 frames. Pull it again. Let's take a look again. See what the effect is. Now, it will form a perfect cycle. It's the same as when we copied this little flower. We can create an axis for them. Then let them do animations like this. It's okay. Or they didn't do position keyframes. So now you can actually copy. To change its position, it will not be restored to its original state. But we need some grass. Its direction will turn. As it is now, the direction is recorded on the keyframe. So no matter which direction you turn, you just play the animation. It will all turn back. In other words, what direction did you take? Like which group of data keyframes are made. Then it will be locked. No matter you adjust the whole. When playing animation, it will all go back, right? Then if you do zoom keyframes, then you are zooming in and out again. When playing animation, it will still come back to you. The state of recording keyframes. Based on such a situation, then, we still have to fight for these two grasses. Be the last negative pole. Then our rotation. And our location. They all use the negative pole. The effect will be better. It would be more convenient, right? Then let's just find a location. Let's create a categorization of it. Okay, let's give it a name. Called light grass. Then bind these two grasses directly to this multilevel. Counter plus P. Then we just need to activate it. Let's take a look at the light-colored grass. Then there are two grasses next to it. We can just delete them. In fact, if we do some projects by ourselves, you can put some that need to be repeated a lot later. Object. Prepare its object in the early stage. The material is ready. Animation is also done well. Copy again. This will save us the need to do some secondary work later. Operation, right? It seems like there will be a little bit of deletion and manipulation again. Do the same, isn't it? It seems relatively cumbersome. Right? So we can early. If you already know it, you can make a new one. Then after the new one is done, let's make it animate again. That's it. Good. Then the animation frames between them. We can all use a little tweaking. Position before and after. Make them look. Handmade rights are different. Let's take a look. The effect is very good. The two inside are forest green. Then let's delete it first. Let's choose a group. Then double-click. CPD, we copy it over. Then you can scale your axis in both large and small directions. Then you can actually scale your grass. Because we just did the rotation of the key net. In fact, scaling and positioning are not done. So you can SZZ make a certain grass bigger and smaller. That's no problem. Does not affect one of their animations. Then we can connect the two of them in a deeper way. Material. So if this is the case, an animated part of them, we're done. And this material part. Let's take a look again. Very good. It could be a little smaller. Make them richer. When this grass is shaking, let's pay attention. It is slightly interspersed with the stairs. We can rotate it a little bit. Move back. That's all right now. So with these two groups as a circle, we can copy it to any of our places. The next question is we need to copy it. Put it in some new location. Let's delete these two grasses. Replace it with. Let's rotate an angle. Then the position of the grass and the location of the grass. We can change it a little bit. Then it doesn't animate now either. Delete. We will separate the small grass and the big grass. Let's make another copy of the past. Easy. We can zoom in a little bit. Direction of rotation. We need to use it for rotation. Use this negative pole to rotate. Good. Then you can adjust it. The timeline below it. Easy. It could be a little bigger. It's slightly smaller. Let's take a look. It feels good now. Very good. Then there are two large dark-colored ones next to the stairs. Let's just copy it over. It should be called dark grass. Good. Send a blow. Copy. Let it go. We can rotate it a little bit. This way it looks like this side. Are not exactly the same. Still very, very synchronized. Let's change it. Change the position of time. It's good now. I think it could be a little further forward. There is a slight blockage with the stairs. Now the effect is very good. Put it here. And then there's some grass on it. So what we do now is exactly the same. Copy it up. GZ, let's go up a little bit. So bring them over, and we're going to replace them. Let's take a closer look. Just on the left and right sides of our dandelions. Grass effect. Let's just put it here. Then you can move it a little bit. Grass on both sides its size. You can scale it yourself. SCZ grows a little bigger. Its SCZ slightly smaller. Let's take a look at it. Reposition. I let it sit. Okay, put it here. SCZ is slightly flatter. Or smaller. Is that so? Let's take a look again. It's totally fine. Where are the two of them? You can change it, or you can. No need to change it. It's okay to adjust it a little bit. A little bit random. Okay, then there's Pikachu. There are also two grasses next to this one. We will also disperse them directly. Just use it. Double-click. Saved. Save Z. Lock Z-axis. Let's let it go. We'll make it this big. Get rid of it directly. Only these two little ones are left. Are in the same direction. And what about the location? They'll give it a slight twist. It can be bigger. It could be slightly smaller. They both go in the same direction. I feel like there will be a little repetition, and I will change it. As long as it's fine. It's smaller. Let's make it bigger. SCZ. Lose weight. Us. Take a look at the corresponding location. Not bad. Let's just put it next to our little flower. Let's take a look again. Okay. Then fine-tune the time. Okay, now is good. Then there is the right side. There are two more on the right. The methods are exactly the same. Double-click and let's hold it over. The first thing is to rotate it a little bit. Then SCZ shrinks a little bit. Get fatter SCZ. That's it. The position information of their animations is slightly processed. Now I think it's very, very good. In our scene, some of the animation effects we need are already there. Let's take a look. Let's check. The grass is shaking. There are two dark grasses near us. It hasn't shaken yet. Then it's the same. Let's get rid of these two directly. Select them. Dark grass. Let's bring it directly. Put it here. Let's pay attention to the direction. See if it can be inserted in. Okay, that's fine if you don't wipe the walls. If it has been inserted, you'd better adjust it manually. It's okay now. No problem at all. There are two more. We also use it to double-click. Let's copy it. Then rotate it by an angle. Let's zoom it out a little bit. Make them look different. Let's take a look again. Still good. The time is also slightly adjusted. Let them not be synchronic in time. Repetition in time. Okay, now it's pretty good. Elements on our screen. Almost everything started moving, isn't it? Then we will insert it later. Pikachu animation. Animation with dandelion. So these parts of the animation. Let's continue talking when we come back to class next time.